Welcome back to the program. We are taking you over to North Africa, where Algeria has lowered its national flags to half-mast to mourn the 257 people killed in the country's worst ever aviation disaster on Wednesday. Funerals have also been held for the victims of the plane crash. Many Algerians have been left shaken by the tragedy, and they have sent condolences to the victims' families after hearing the tragic news.
Funeral services have been held for victims of the Algerian military plane crash which killed more than 250 people. People gathered in the neighborhood of the co-pilot who died in the crash, mourning with the family.
My son is the son of all Algeria. May God have mercy on them. That's all I can say, my dear brother. These are my friends. They raised him as if they were my brothers.
In the capital, Algiers, passers-by empathy for the victims and their families.
I felt that I was in their place. I felt as if I have lost my parents, one of my brothers. What can we say? We pray God to help their parents and to have mercy on them.
The country lowered its national flags to half-mast to mourn the 257 people killed in the aviation disaster. President Abdelaziz Bouteflika announced 3 days of national mourning after the plane crashed into a field near the Boufarik Air Base, located 30 kilometers southwest of the capital, Algiers, shortly after takeoff on Wednesday.
It was horrible. We could not even eat or drink water because of the tragedy. I call upon God for mercy, and I pray that God gives the families of the victims the fortitude to bear the loss.
The aircraft had been carrying army personnel and their family members back to their barracks in the far south of the country before crashing. Memorial services are to be held across the country to pray for the families of the victims and pay respects to those who perished in the crash. The country's defense ministry says an investigation into the incident is underway.
The Ugandan government has announced that it will accept some 500 Eritreans and Sudanese refugees from Israel. This follows speculation that some African countries have signed an agreement with Israel to take in Africans being forcibly deported from the Jewish state. Uganda's Minister for Refugee Issues, Musa Ekweru, says the move is solely based on the refugees' willingness to come to Uganda and will only include those who already have refugee status in Israel. Uganda has been hailed worldwide for its open-door refugee policy and is currently hosting more than 1.4 million refugees from its neighbors and beyond. Welcome to our Africa Tech segment. As the world continues to make rapid technological advances, it does seem like Nigeria is yet to catch up. Over the past few years, the country has experienced an increase in its security challenges. Some experts believe the country is not doing enough in terms of using technology to boost security. Our guest on the program today, Gabriel Olowoniwa, joins us to discuss how best the country can integrate technology into its security systems. Thanks for joining us on Network Africa.
The pleasure is all mine.
Now, how can Nigeria boost its security on land, in the sea, and in the air using technology?
Okay. Talking about security in Nigeria, it's something that's been affecting us for a very long time. And security challenges not only affecting Nigeria as a whole, but if you check other countries, they make use of technology in the sense that most countries have satellites. Fine, Nigeria, we have our own satellite as well. But most countries, they tap into the technological aspect of it in the sense that once something is happening at a particular time in the country, it's something you can access using your satellite. Now, coming back to Nigeria, we had our first satellite. We had numerous satellites. The first satellite, the second satellite, that was one that even got lost in space. Now we have another satellite right now. It's up and running. They've been using it for different things, different purposes, agriculture, health issues, etc. But now talking about the main thing, which is security. If the government can really key into that, if that satellite can really work in accordance to solving security issues, it's something that they can decide to build another satellite. They can decide to pay for another satellite. The current satellite we are using, it's not paid for. It was more or less like a compensation because of the one that got lost. So now, if the government can pump in money into that, we can really get something working. We're using the satellite. One other thing, again, is this, to boost security on land, sea, and air. Nigeria, I always say something, Nigeria is a country that we are not networked together. We don't have a central database. We don't really have something connecting everybody together. If a crime is happening somewhere, there's no camera that is seeing that crime at that particular point in time. Now, if there's a camera that is seeing that particular thing in time, okay, fine, let's talk about Boko Haram, for example. They've been operating over there. There was a time they told us that, fine, they were in Sambisa Forest. Now, the thing is it that they can't really see them there? Is there anything under this heaven? No. If they tap into the idea of technology very, very well, we can really cover these men, to be sincere. Yeah.
Now, you talked about the issue of a central database. We have the Nigeria Identity Management Commission, Central Bank of Nigeria, BVN. We have the Nigeria Communications Communication, Independent National Electoral Commission, and the likes, all taking data from citizens, but still no central database. How can Nigeria solve this issue?
Okay. There was a time I used to wonder. They told us, do your BVN. They collected the same data. Do your INEC registration. They collected the same data. Go and do international passport. It's still the same data they were collecting. Then do your national ID card. Yes, they were still collecting the same data. So that's more or less like 4 different identity cards on me, whereas they collected the same data. And yet, they can't really tell me that, yeah, there's a central database for something. Let me just move on to the solution straight up. Because Nigeria doesn't have a central database, there's something we can do. And that thing is this. The government needs to work hand in hand with the citizens. Working hand in hand in the sense that I'm a software developer, for example. So if we have so many software developers in Nigeria, we have people that can partner with the government, it's something we can come together, create a particular solution. That solution will be available in hospitals, it will be available in schools. Once you give birth to a particular child today, you must register the child. Now we know that the child will keep growing. If the child grows, the child gets into primary school or something. Now that same device, that same software that is backing up in the cloud will also be in the school. As that child is entering that school, they will get the data of that particular child. With that, we are keeping track of that particular person. So now we know how to keep the track of mortality and all these rates.
Now, modern integrated security systems like the CCTV, intruder alarms, and access control systems offer a lot not only to businesses and organizations, but also to the police and government, services all over the world. Shouldn't Nigeria also be investing more in these systems? Okay.
If you are saying that Nigeria should invest in all these systems, where's the electricity? That's one major challenge again. So all these things in technology, it works hand in hand together. If you want to make a CCTV work, you need electricity to power it up. Now, aside from the fact that you need electricity to power it up, you also need so many other things to get together. Now, another thing is that we need to sensitize our people. Our people are not really sensitized. Sensitized in the sense that if a government should come to a particular area now and they are installing a particular CCTV in the area, people there might be scared. They will be like, wow, is the government trying to spy on them? So now we need to sensitize our people to make them know the usefulness of all these systems. Intruder alarms, CCTV, etc. We need to make them know all those things. So now, once those things are put in place and we solve the problem of electricity in Nigeria, it will be very, very easier for Nigeria to set up systems like CCTV, intruder alarm, and etc. And one more thing I will quickly need to add is that it's not a bad thing if houses that can afford it. It's not a bad thing for them to key into that particular thing and start getting it in their houses.
Software developer Gabriel Oluwaniwa, thank you so much for joining us on Network Africa.
Yeah, thank you.
And that's the program today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Tevita Fagbimi.